Hi guys, welcome to another video. I'm Man Jon. So in the cleaning shed today. So in this video what I thought I'd do is answer questions that I'm commonly asked. People ask me questions who are curious about the hobby, or when they see me out they'll ask me questions about it. So I just thought I'd run through the common questions that I'm asked and I'd answer them for you. So it can be a guide if you're curious about metal detecting. Watch the video, you probably get some hints and tips from my personal opinion, and I hope you enjoy it. So I've always been around metal detecting since I was a young age. My granddad used to do it. He used to find rings and things. He had an old, I think it was a C-scope detector. It was just based on sound and he had to twiddle some little knobs on it. So when I used to go out with him, he used to actually just drop coins around where I was detecting, so I was finding things. So I've always been around it since then. In about, I think it was about 2014, 2015, my dad actually bought a metal detector. He wanted to get back into it, so he bought a Garrett Euroace. So I actually went out with him and I got back into the hobby that way. I really enjoyed it, so I bought myself a Minelab Xterra 705 and I've been doing it ever since, really. So from the 705 I upgraded then to the Equinox, then I went to the XP ORX, the Deus and the Deus 2. So you know, had a few different detectors over the years, but I enjoy it, and that's how long I've been detecting, really. I always like finding coins. My best find, I think, I've always wanted to find some hammered coins, and I found some on some previous videos, so that was nice. I've also had a little Roman coin, always wanted to find a Roman coin, and when I was actually cleaning a load of my old finds, I actually came across it. It was a tiny little coin, and I cleaned it up, and then you could see some of the decoration on it, and it was a Roman coin. So I really like finding them. So that's what I'd say probably are my best finds, the hammered and the Roman. So the metal detector I use is the XP Deus 2. I've attached a lanyard to the control unit so it doesn't fall off and I don't lose it. The headphones that come with it are the Deus 2, the WS6s, the over the sort of ear headphones. They go down the back of your head. The Pro pointer I use, the probe in the ground, is the XP MI6. I do have the MI4 as well. I've used other Pro pointers before. I used to use the Garrett. I do like the Garrett and the MI6. I've tried the Minelabs, but I wasn't as fussed on them. Spade I use is this one, the Black Adder, I think that's how you say it, Black Adder or Black Adder Gladius. This has a sort of like a footrest on it, so you can use that like it's a boot saver, I think they call it. So I used to use a small spade, a small shovel. I think it only cost me about £20, but what I found, I was because it was only short, even though it was light, I was always bending over to dig, and it sort of like it aches your back after a while. Also, it didn't have a foot saver on it, so I was always ripping up my wellies, my boots and things like that. So the reason I got this spade is, one, it's stainless steel so it won't rust, and it's heavy duty, and I've pounded this in different grounds and terrains and things like that, and it's held up really well. I also like the boot saver on it, not tearing up my wellies and my boots anymore. So highly recommend this spade. It is a bit more pricey than other spades that you can get, but if you are going to get a spade, I'd definitely get one with a boot saver on it. So finds pouches are a must. The ones I've been using the little XP one. Really like it. The only problem is it is a bit small, even though it's really good quality. If I've got a lot of rubbish, or I'm getting a lot of iron, or I'm getting a lot of different big items, I have horseshoes, it's really, you don't really fit them in there. Use the Garrett finds pouch, really good. It's really roomy, this one, so it will fit a lot of the junk in. And what I'm using at the minute is the Searcher finds pouch, so I can put my pinpointer at the side. It's got another little sort of compartment that I can keep things in. Inside it, what I usually keep, I've got a little spray bottle. So if I find something, I can spray it with water, I can clean it down with a little toothbrush. Just a bit quick field clean. In my backpack I actually keep this. It's a Garrett keeper's box, so because it's quite big I don't keep it in the main sort of pouch, I keep it in my backpack, so if my little container fills up I can start putting things into this one. The main sort of thing that keeps my finds is this little finds box here, so the good finds, coins, anything like that, I'll put them in there. So you can see there's a few coins in there. It has this little foam inside with little slits in it, so it keeps them all safe. I always wear a backpack. Sometimes I wear this one. This is the big XP one. If I'm going on a mission where I've got a lot of land and I'm away from the car quite a bit, I'll use this one because I can put waterproofs in it. I fit a lot of equipment in this. I can put my dinner in it, put drinks in it, anything that I'm going to need I'll stick it in this. Majority of the time I just use this little carry-more backpack. Very light, always got a waterproof coat in there. For the finds pouches I've got my drink, and I keep a spare sort of a pinpointer in there and a portable charger. Sometimes if the battery's going flat on the camera that I'm filming on, you know, I can plug that in. So always good to have a backpack with you. So that's the equipment that I use when I'm out in the field. I have some waterproof pants that I usually wear. I have wellies. I always wear wellies now as opposed to boots. I just think it's easier for me. Always wear a hat. The wellies I actually use, I actually get them from Screwfix. But some people have had steel toe cap ones, and I'll be going along thinking they've got a good signal. It's actually detecting your wellies with the steel toe cap. I also, what else do I use? And also you need a good pair of gloves for the ground. You can pick them up quite cheap anywhere, but it saves your hands from getting dirty. Tough question, this one. The detector I'd recommend for a beginner to start with is I'd actually recommend the Minelab Vanquish. I'd probably go for the 440 or the 540, and the reason for this is got multi-frequency on it, so you don't have to worry about changing frequencies. It's going to find a lot of targets, and you can use it on land and on the beach, and it's quite an easy detector to use. Other than that, I'd probably recommend a Garrett, the Ace Apex. Again, that's another multi-frequency detector. Now obviously the first detectors that you get, it's going to be based on your budget. What you don't want to do is go out and spend a lot of money on a detector and you actually, because you've watched a YouTube video, or you think, oh, you know, they're finding loads of stuff, I'm going to find loads of stuff, and then you don't. What I'd actually recommend is, you know, can you go out on any local digs? Do you know anyone that metal detects? And then you can have a go with their detector. So just have a go before you actually go out and buy anything, because you might not like it and then you've wasted a lot of money. But anyway, they're the detectors I'd recommend for first time buyers. There's a lot of things on Amazon like cheaper metal detectors, and I've got no experience of them, but typically if you're going to be doing this hobby and you want to get into it, and you really want to find things and enjoy the hobby, the Garrett Ace Apex and the Minelab Vanquish series are the ones I'd recommend for you to start with. There's also lots of other things that you need to consider. So you get your first detector, but also you're going to need a spade, probably a ground digger, some wellies, some waterproofs, pro pointer and things like that. So when you're factoring in getting your first detector, think about the other equipment that you need to get as well, and look at your budget and get what suits you best. There's Facebook pages, eBay and things, that you're probably able to get things second hand. But just have a think about how you're going to detect and where you're going to detect before you buy all your equipment. So you got your metal detector and you're naturally going to want to go out and detect, but can you go anywhere? No, you can't. Unfortunately in this country all land is actually owned, so in order to go on fields and things you need to get permission from the landowners. Usually you do this by asking them, would you mind me going on your land to do some detecting? If they say yes, obviously you can go on, but ask them, which fields can I go on. Don't just necessarily think that you can go on everything, because some land that they have might be under crop and they don't want you to go on that. So always ask, you know, where can I go, how long can I detect for, and have an agreement. You know, if you find anything, you know, show them what you find at the end of the day. If they want anything, let them have it. If you find anything that's worth a lot of money, obviously that has to be reported. And what's the split going to be? You know, is it 50-50? There are a lot of things that you need to consider. You can actually go on the Crown website and you can see where you can detect on the beaches in this country. You used to have to have a permit, you don't now. So yeah, some people actually go night hawking, and it gives everyone in the metal detecting community a bad name. So they can't get permission, so they just trespass on land in the middle of the night, dig holes and take things out, really. And that's unfortunate because it puts landowners off, the genuine people that are respectable and want to go on the land. When you're on land and you're digging your holes, make sure you fill them back in, you take any rubbish with you, and you're friendly and you're respectable and you're approachable. So I don't have a personal insurance for when I go out metal detecting on land, but I am a member of the NCMD, which is the National Council for Metal Detecting. I've recently upgraded my subscription now, so I've paid for a 2-year subscription. So you are insured on there. It's up to about 10 million. So say if you're in a field and you leave a gate open by mistake, and their prize bull gets out and it gets killed, you know, they can be reimbursed, and you're insured for things like that. Or, you know, you dig in and you've nicked an artifact. You're insured for a lot of things on there, so it's well worth doing. On the website also gives you templates for fines agreements, it gives you links to the Treasury Act, and it gives you a lot of rules and basically what detectors should follow, how you should be. So it's like a metal detectorist etiquette, well worth joining. And it does give you a lot of sort of information about groups, metal detecting groups in your area. So it's a really good site to actually go on and promote the hobby, really. So I'm a member of that. So as I said before, I use now the XP Deus 2. The reason I use the XP Deus 2 is I really enjoy the freedom that detector gives you. So I can go in and change settings, and I can customize the detector to how I like to detect. Now, if you're a beginner and you go to the XP Deus 2, yeah, you'll be able to use it. There's custom programs that you use, but you'll not necessarily understand all the fine adjustments. So I probably wouldn't recommend that one to a beginner. But as I've done metal detecting for a number of years and I've used different machines, I actually know how I like to detect and what features I actually like on a detector, and how to change settings to suit the land that I'm on and the conditions that I'm in. So because the XP Deus allows me to do that, that's the reason I use that detector. I really enjoyed using the XP Deus 1, and the XP Deus 2, it uses fast multi-frequency. So I don't just have to stay in a one frequency setting. Obviously it has all the frequencies at once shooting into the ground. So that's the reason I use that. I really like XP products too. So getting permissions can be quite hard. I was actually quite lucky with mine. Is I have some family that have quite a lot of land, so I've been able to go there. And obviously with them being farmers, they know other farmers, so they pass on your information to other people and ask if you can go on their land. So I've had quite a lot of land through that way, and people that I know. My dad also works for the council, so he has a lot of contacts in there of people who have land and who he's friends with. So I'm able to go to different places that way. I know some people really struggle to find permissions, and it can be really off-putting and frustrating at times. But just persevere. And I'd say also don't be overly pushy. You know, if you approach someone, you ask for permission and they say no, just accept no, and you know, move on. Just be really polite, or you could ask, do you know anyone else who has land that I might be able to go on? Or if you do get lucky and you do have a permission, ask them, do you know anyone else? You might get lucky that way too. Some people send letters out to farmers. Some people knock on doors. I don't always think that's the right way to go knock on doors. I think sometimes that can be a bit intrusive. You could be out on a walk and you see a farmer, maybe you could ask them that way. But if you can't get on land, you can always go on the beach if you can in your area. So no, I don't always find good stuff in when I go out detecting. I think the majority of the time, 9 times out of 10, what you dig up is going to be junk. That's just how metal detecting is. When you actually watch some channels on YouTube, that you see them every hole, it's a hammered coin or it's this and that. What you've got to remember, in a day they might be digging 100, 200 holes, and what you're seeing is 20 finds that they've got that are good finds. The rest is junk. Metal detecting can be quite tedious that way. You can get on permission, and I've been on some permissions and you literally, every hole is really good. I'm getting a coin, I'm getting another coin, I'm getting another artifact. Oh, and then I'll find something junky. Some permissions I go on, it's so quiet, the ground is so quiet, and I'm going walking 15-20 minutes, you're not getting a signal, and then you do get a signal, it's rubbish, and then the next one you dig is rubbish, and you get a bit downhearted with it. You go along, you're thinking, oh, I'm not finding anything today, and it does put a dampener on the day sometimes, but then you might find something really good, and then it cheers you up a little bit. So it's always sort of like hit and miss with metal detecting. For the majority of the time, you don't find good things, but it is nice when you do. It's always nice looking at the history of the finds that you have, thinking about who's dropped them, what were they doing. It's always interesting that way. So when I go out detecting, I'm usually detecting between 6 and 7 hours. I then come back and then I film about another hour and a half to 2 hours on the clean down, and then when I edit, it usually takes between 3 to 5 hours to edit everything down, and then you upload it to YouTube. So it does take quite a bit of time to actually make even a 20-minute video. You put a lot of effort into it, so that's how long it takes me. I find metal detecting fun. It's always nice being out, especially when it's a real nice day and you're in a really nice setting. It's in the countryside, it's very peaceful, so you're just going along, you mind your own business, you're sort of thinking about what you could find, what you're going to find, and when you dig something, and it's something good, and especially if it's old, it excites you a little bit, and you can think about who's dropped it, what were they doing, and you start to get a bit of a picture of a history. So yeah, it is fun. It's also frustrating if you dig, you're on a site. I remember I was on a site once that was a World War II training ground, and I was just digging bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet, and that gets frustrating. Or sometimes you're on the ground, you're just digging rubbish, or you're on a bit of land and it's very quiet, it's very clean, you're not finding anything. Can be frustrating, but you got to look at the positive. You're doing a hobby, you're enjoying yourself, and you're out in the fresh air. So yeah, I enjoy it anyway. Yeah, I think it's a good hobby for kids to do if they can get into it. There are kids detectors out there, and I know Minelab do a ProFind sort of series of detectors, and it's nice to get them out, keep them active. It's better than being on the phones and on the PlayStations all day, and it sort of, I think it helps them to appreciate history and learn about history and learn about things that they have found, and gives them a sense of pride. I found something, and filling in holes and things like that. So I think it's good for kids to detect if they're interested in it, and yeah, it's a bit of bonding time, isn't it, with family members. So it's more of a statement, the last one that I get really, as opposed to a question. But when I'm actually doing beaches, I actually have a lot of detectorists come over, and we chat. I ask them about have they found anything. They'll ask me. I'll show them things, and the majority of the time they always say to me, "I'm not finding anything. I can't find anything." Actually, you're not going to find anything that's not there. But sometimes, and I'd say 60% of the time, it's someone new to the hobby and they've bought a metal detector and they don't understand how to use it properly. So one of the things that I would recommend is, if you are new and you do buy a metal detector, look at the metal detector that you're buying, read the instruction manual and learn how to use it. You get yourself a little test garden in your back garden if you can. Listen to how it sounds, listen to how good targets sound next to iron, and learn the machine, learn the sounds of the machine. Sometimes people go on the beaches and they're picking up a lot of salt, and a lot of iron sensitivity in the ground, or they've got the sensitivity way too high, and they can't find anything. So I always think it's always best to learn your machine and practice with it and be confident with it, and go out and have fun with it. Don't it's like what they say, don't run before you can walk. So don't just go out and buy the most expensive machine that's out there. Well, if you don't know how to use it, you are going to struggle with it. But yeah, that's the one thing I'd say, is learn your machine. So there's quite a few times that I've had to I've given tips and gone through settings on the machine, and I've set things up for people, and to give them a better metal detecting experience. But I think I'm quite a friendly person. Some detectorists might not be as friendly and they might not do that for you, but so what I would say is just learn your machines well. So I do watch a lot of YouTube and videos on metal detecting. The main channels I actually watch the XP Skill School with Gary. I watch England's History with Sid. I watch the Dukes of Derbyshire, Norfolk Button Boy. And I do actually watch the channel. There's some detectorists local to me, the Soil Sisters, so I watch their channel too. And it's just interesting. I just find it interesting, and you can pick up a lot of tips and things from them. And it's quite nice to, if they have got a channel, support that channel, subscribe to their channel. And metal detecting, I suppose, it is a bit of a niche and a small community, and they're all them people I've talked to, and they are friendly. So yeah, they're the channels that I watch. So they were some of the answers to a lot of the questions that I actually get asked quite a lot. So I hope that's cleared some things up. And if you're new to detecting, I hope you've got some information from this video, and you'll be able to take advice from it, really. If you have any questions, just contact me. My email's in the description, or you can leave a comment and I'll reply to you. I'm also on Instagram, so you can subscribe on there. It's just Man Jon. So yeah, so thanks for watching.